welcome to the Secret Sauce Podcast. I'm Lacey Morris. This is Chad Trease, and we are on episode 8 already.
This has been a fun journey. Ingredient we're talking about today is one that is near and dear to my heart, has become very, very near and dear to my heart recently. And I did a little video about this a couple months ago, and ever since then, I can't stop thinking about it.
What is it?
What is it? That's a good question. So this is all about mastering the art of referring. And there is an art to it. I truly believe that. And I think that by giving great referrals, your business can benefit in a major way. I think this is something that everybody can benefit. And I'm really excited to talk about it.
So before we go into it, like if I was on the receiving end of this, so let's say that, let's just address it. We're both lenders.
Yeah.
Right? And if I was a realtor listening to this, I'd be like, well, sure, you want great referrals. You want somebody to be great at referring you. It benefits you.
Which is why this topic is all about how it can benefit the referrer.
Yeah, we want to make sure you hear that part.
Not the recipient.
Right.
You can absolutely blow your business up astronomically.
Yep.
If you really commit to the way that you give referrals and make it systematic, put a process behind it, and make it repeatable. Because nobody wants to wing it every single time. So you can dial in a process and a system of giving referrals that I guarantee will create raving fans.
Oh, I know it too. I believe you. So let's first start. Why don't you tell how would you like to be referred story?
Well, so, this just goes back to, for me, it goes back to an experience last year. Just to tell a little story behind it is last year I was traveling. I was in Chicago with my dad and my son. I've been to Chicago once or twice, but I don't know all the great restaurants to go to or anything like that. And we were staying at a nice hotel. And so rather than just try to wing it or get on Google or Yelp or whatever, I just went down to the concierge and just asked. I said, we're in town for 2 nights. Where should we stay? Or not where should we stay? Where should we go to eat? And the concierge stopped what he was doing, looked up, a huge smile on his face, and is like, if you're going out to dinner tonight, there is one place you absolutely have to try. And it is very, very tough to get into, but I'm going to call the owner of the restaurant right now, and I'm going to have him reach out to you. He will reach out to you within 30 minutes, and he will set you up with a table tonight. And they will roll out the red carpet for you. And so I didn't know, would he really do that, right? But he was dialed in his presentation of it. And so I was like, okay, well, let's see where this goes.
Well, first of all, before that, he didn't have to do that, right?
Yeah, we'll get there in a second. So let me tell the story, and then, yes, all the things he could have done, right? But he, within 15 minutes, my phone rings. He takes down my phone number. Within 15 minutes, my phone rings, and it's not him. It's the owner of the restaurant.
Oh, wow.
And he says, Mr. Trease, I can't remember the concierge's name now. I wish I could. But let's just say Charles, the concierge, gave me your information. He said you guys were looking for a restaurant, and I didn't have any tables tonight, but I just freed one up for you. I'm going to curate an amazing experience for you, your dad, and your son. He knew the backstory that I was in town to see a game at Wrigley Stadium with my dad and my son. And he was like, I want to make this experience amazing for you. And they rolled out the red carpet, freed up the best table, gave us a tour of the kitchen with the chef. The chef came out and he knew our story, right? And it just changed the way that I felt about that. It was insane. I've never been given a referral at that level before, and it just made my wheels start turning as far as wow, we're missing the boat. We give referrals too, insurance. We give referrals for all sorts of stuff. So it's not just realtors to lenders.
Right.
But my mind just started going crazy with, wow, I could get so much better at how I give referrals, because I guarantee that was something he had done many times before. He wasn't winging it.
Yep.
Right. So to your point, how else could he have done it? And this is where it would play in with realtors or anybody. But if he would have said, hey, one way to do it would have just been, hey, here's 10 restaurants. Here's a sheet of 10 restaurants that their hotel recommends. Give it a shot. And all that would do to me was give me more homework.
Right.
And I'm the type of person, if you're going to give me homework, I'll just go do my own homework. Right. I'll go to Google, I'll figure it out. Yeah. So there's no passion behind that.
No thanks. Yeah.
Right, referral. He could have done another way, is said, I know a great restaurant. I know the chef. I know the owner of the restaurant. Here's his information. Give him a call. It's the same referral to the same place, right?
Not the same impact.
Way less impact. Didn't change the way I feel. I don't know if I will call or not, right? There's not enough passion behind it.
Knows the full answer. Yeah.
And that's just typically like if you leave it up to somebody else to make that call, maybe they'll go find somebody else who's willing to go out on a limb and make a better referral, like the first example, like the one that we actually received that was very, very memorable.
Right.
So for me, there is huge power in the way that you give referrals. And so that's what I want to talk about today is 4 steps that everybody can implement. 4 easy steps everybody can implement to become a master at referring.
God, it's so good. Before we do that real quick, I want to share with you, because as you're talking, I just still remember when I was taught this tactic. And from one of my favorite mentors ever, and she said, I want to teach you how to help teach your realtors how to refer better. And, you know, my initial thought was, oh yeah, they're going to want to hear that from me.
Right. It sounds so self-serving, delivered one way.
It sounds so self-serving. And she goes, no, but listen, they need to know how to do it the right way. And it's because they are the experts, right? Buyers are going to the realtor first right now. The realtor is the expert, and they need to know how to make sure that they are still portraying the expert in the way they refer. She said, okay, so hear me out. I said, okay. She goes, I'm going to use a different analogy to paint this picture. She said, you're going to the doctor. And the doctor comes out and says, Chad, I have some awful news. You have cancer. Then the doctor says, here's 3 oncologists. Call them all. Pick whichever one you like. See you later.
It's homework. Again, it's homework.
I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry about this. Or the doctor comes out and says, Chad, I'm really sorry. You have cancer. I can give you a list of 3, and I will if you want. But I'm going to tell you who I'm going to refer my parents to, or my children to, or my sister to, because there is one without a doubt that I want to take care of you, that I know you will receive the best treatment. And if you're okay with that, I'm going to actually have them call and reach out to you to schedule an appointment. Would that be okay?
That's a beautiful way. That's a beautiful way to do it. It's the same example, different scenario. Situation, but it just invokes a feeling. Yeah.
Like, wow.
Well, at the end of the day, everything that we do, sales, referring, it comes down to it's a transfer of passion.
Absolutely.
And whenever I hear that term, I'm like, it just resonates with me. It's a transfer of passion. And I think that we need to be delivering any referrals that we give with passion. Right.
But it goes back to that doctor story. That doctor knows who the best is. That doctor is leading that patient, right? And that patient trusts them. When the doctor says, here's 3, it's like, I don't really know. I'm hoping that you're going to figure it out. And they lose their credibility. They lose their power. They're
no longer the Sherpa. If we're talking going back to episode 2, I think the Sherpa, like they're no longer that trusted advisor. They're just someone who's on this journey with them.
Yeah, what if a Sherpa would be like, well, you could do this, this, or this. What would you like?
Right.
Like how would your confidence feel if your Sherpa did that?
Yeah, you would leave scared. If in your doctor example, you would leave scared as hell.
What? Yes.
Right.
So that's where she started explaining, like, this is why that piece is so important. Because as a real estate agent, and even us and anybody, like, we want people to believe that we are the expert, and we should be, right? Like, we should be working with the best. We should have the dream team lined up, ready to help our clients. And so when we're just saying, here, you go do this, you go figure this out, it's really saying, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what's best. So I hope you find out what's best.
And to touch on, just to like emphasize that point, because I think that you are spot on. Rewind, listen to that again. But just to define that point a little bit more is in this era right now that we're living in, post NAR settlement, where agents like never before have to be able to define their value, because there's going to be a race to the bottom. There's going to be people who are doing it for less. There's going to be people who are offering like little service for low compensation, right? And so you have to, if you're going to expect to make as an agent what you made before, then that 3% or whatever, you have to be able to provide massive value. And one way to provide massive value is to have an absolute dream team of people lined up that you've curated experiences with all of them, and you are absolutely the captain of the ship. You're the Sherpa. You're the doctor that has all the confidence.
Exactly.
That's the person that you need to be, and that's true value.
Absolutely.
You are not very valuable giving a bunch of names and saying you figure it out.
Yep. And I'll be honest with you. I've been on the list of 3 before with realtors.
Everybody, we all have.
And I've asked,
we are right now.
I've asked politely to take me off. I'd rather not be on a list of 3. And I know that sounds rude, or fill in the blank, whatever you think it sounds. But I rather help and teach. If you have 3 and you are in great relationship with 3, that's fine. Rotate it, right? So that you're now the expert every single time.
Yep.
You see what I mean? So that you are reclaiming what your title should be.
Right.
And so, then it's maybe placing your people with this because they make the best fit, or them because they make the most fit, but remove the 3. And so I'll be flat out and say, take me off the 3. And it's not out of rudeness or arrogance, but it's because I want to explain why. I want to explain where I want to be in that. And I'd love to be, on that or number 1 on that. But it's just such an important piece that I think gets missed so frequently. And I think that it's mainly done out of error. And what I mean by that, if you ask most real estate agents, they'll tell you why they give 3.
Because they've been coached and
they've
taught.
Been told, they've been taught that you have to.
There's legally they needed to give 3.
Yeah. I've heard it all. I've heard it all over all the years on when I just ask why do you give 3? Oh, because I was taught that, or oh, because it says it here, or because it says it there. And the good news is we've done all of our research on this, and it's not. You cannot force somebody to use a lender. You're not allowed to say you have to use them. That's steering. That's saying you have to at all. But you are not required to give 3. In fact, every single person that I've challenged that on, I ask them, well, do you give 3 inspectors? Do you give
title
3
companies?
title companies?
Right.
Do you give 3? And they all, oh, no, right? And so, I think it's the important piece is, hey, you can use whoever it is that you want, but I'm going to tell you who I recommend.
If I was doing it, if my parents were buying a house.
And why.
Yeah.
And be convicted in that and understand.
Transfer the passion.
The passion of that. So I think it's great. So let's cover the 4 steps that we were talking about.
Well, so I want to real quick put a button on that, because there's people think it's legal is one way. Another thing that I've heard a lot is like why I give 3 is because if something goes wrong,
I don't want it to be on me.
I don't want to be responsible. Mm-hmm. Let's be completely transparent here. If you give 15 names and they choose one of 15, they're still going to blame you.
Yep.
So wouldn't it be way better to get such a great relationship lined up that the risk of things going wrong is so low, and be so passionate about that's the relationship that you refer. Absolutely. Versus, hey, here's a list of 15, you figure it out. Because if they pick one on that list and something goes wrong, they're blaming you just the same as if you gave them one name.
Well, they are, because whether they come out and say that they're blaming you, unfortunately, it's all one memory, right? Like when we go down the road and everything's done, it doesn't matter how great the realtor did, how great the title, how great the lender did. It's all one memory.
The home buying experience is all one experience. It's not your lending experience, your realtor experience, your title company experience.
So
it's
if
all
it goes,
one experience.
One area goes bad, it remembers it in the whole. People remember it in a whole. So I think it that leads right into, obviously our first step of the 4 steps is to create your dream team.
Right. And I think this is a step that I didn't do for a long time. It made me rethink everything. That experience with concierge, right? Like it made me rethink everything. And it's like, I need to really dial in my dream team. Yeah. I need to make sure that if somebody asks for somebody, I have someone that I'm so passionate about and I feel so good about, and then revisit that. Like maybe some people drop off, right? But absolutely. You're constantly looking at your dream team and putting that together. That when somebody asks for something, you're at the ready, and this is somebody that if my parents were buying a house right now, this is absolutely who I would refer them to. Use. Yep. So I think that's an absolute best first step. You got to assemble your dream team.
Absolutely. So then step 2 is customize a red carpet process.
Yep. So I think this, to go back to the concierge example, right? It was clear that they had done their research. They had put a process and
I've done it
system in
before.
place.
Absolutely.
This was not them like, hey, yeah, hey, do you want to call them? Like this, they had defined this and said, hey, when somebody calls and asks for this, will you create this amazing experience? I'm going to have you call. I need you to commit to calling them within 30 minutes because I'm going to tell them you'll call within 30 minutes. And they designed it. It was very clear to me that this was not happenstance. This didn't just randomly happen, right? So systematizing and making a process of the experience is huge, and it should be customized, right? And I think that this isn't just realtors to lenders. I think everybody on your dream team put together a customized red carpet plan that you roll out that they can speak to. As soon as that referral comes in, here's what they do, and both sides know what's going to happen.
What to expect.
Yeah.
Yep, I love it. And I think it's a great way to collaborate, right? Get your dream team together and really collaborate and envision what we want.
Because who's doing it right now? Like, really think about the very best referrals that you get right now.
Right.
Are they so customized to a process and a system that is repeatable every single time? Or is it similar, right? I don't think anybody is doing it at like, or very, very rare. Let's say not anybody.
At the level it could be done. You're
right.
There's definitely room for improvement for sure.
Yep.
With a lot. And I have a lot of great ones that are really dialed in, but definitely even, when you give the experience with the concierge, my mind is flooded on how we can already make what we're doing that much better.
Right.
For sure.
And I think a big one is in that, and then we'll skip on to number 3, but I think a big piece of that needs to be have the person being referred reach out to them.
Oh, 100%.
Take the ball out of their court. Don't give them the work of them having to call and make a reservation. Say, hey, talk to the concierge. Do you know him? Whatever. Make that a part of your system and process that the person being referred is the one that reaches out. Everybody knows. When you're referred somebody and says, hey, I gave so-and-so your name, what would you say percentage people actually?
I don't know what percentage I would say, but I would guarantee that the percentage is so much higher. Like just for me and my team, if you say you're going to refer us, the chances of us getting that lead or you giving us the lead so we get to call them, our conversion is so high on those.
Well, I can say that we will talk to people 100% of the time. If you give us the name, we will make it a point to call to meet our service requirement. We said we're going to call within 30 minutes. We're going to call right away. Right. We're going to talk about how amazing that person is that gave the referral is, like scripted, right? Which leads us to number 3, which is define and role play scripts. It's more process, right? But I think this is a step that people definitely take for granted, that you're putting this process together. Take the time to play it out and role play it with the partner that with your team. Role play it so everybody does know what you're saying, how you're referring me, what I'm saying when I get that referral. And so you can start making little tweaks to it and make it amazing, because this, again, it's adding color to a black and white process. Now we're like adding Technicolor again. It's a game changer.
It is a game changer. It is a game changer. The step number 4, which I do want to roll into because I want to blend it all together then if we can, is to execute and manifest raving fans. And so this is after we go through all of those steps, this is what is naturally going to start happening because of this. I always have to tease because sometimes my mouth says raging fans versus raving, and we definitely want raving fans.
Raving.
We're not going for the raging, we're going for the raving. But tell me this, after you had that amazing meal with your dad and your son in Chicago, how did you feel about it?
Well, I'll tell you what, I remember the referral experience. I remember the way that the process went down. I remember all of that more than I remember the meal.
Wow. Okay.
And I think that's a very key point, is like the meal, well, it was great. Everything was like, I wouldn't have remembered it the same way if it wasn't like a great meal, right? Yeah. But I expected that going in based on the way the referral, I expected a great meal. Yeah. But what really stuck in my mind was the way that everything unfolded. The experience itself was so amazing. And I tell everybody about it.
Because like, it doesn't happen that often.
Legitimately, I have become this raving fan of the concierge. I'm like, if you're in Chicago, you got to stay at this place. This track down the concierge. Like, he will make the most amazing referrals and set you up with the most amazing experiences. I remember that more than I remember the meal itself. So it goes back to our very first point about it not being self-serving.
Yeah.
The person receiving the referral was the restaurant.
Yep.
I don't remember yes, the restaurant was great, but what I really remember was the concierge who curated this experience for me. And I tell everybody about that. Yep. And so that's the realtor in this situation. People become your raving fan. They're going to tell everybody, oh my God, they know everybody. Everybody that I talked to, they created this amazing experience for us. We didn't have to think about anything. They just handled everything. Good. It was amazing. And they become your biggest fans. We'll tell everybody. Mm-hmm. Even if you have an amazing experience, people give you a 5-star review, that's one thing. But when people start singing your praises everywhere you go, that's a raving fan. And that's what this creates. That's a
big difference in business.
It's a huge difference. So yeah, step 4, let's just go through them real quick again. So create the dream team, right? Customize the process, the red carpet experience, right?
An experience. Mm-hmm.
And then number 3 is just put a little bit of effort into role playing how it's all going to go down. So so it's the scripting and role playing of how this experience is going to happen for them, right? And then start tailoring it. And then lastly, implement it, execute, and you will watch raving fans roll in.
Yep. And raving fans are what it's all about, right? Like, there is nothing better out of 22 years of doing business when someone comes back and they refer to you by somebody else who just said how great you were and how they cannot wait to work with you because of blah, 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 blah. Like, that's where it's at.
Yeah, I heard what you did, like in that concierge experience. Like, I guarantee anybody who goes there, it's going to be like, hey, I heard what you did for my friend Chad. It was like, he won't shut up about it. Mm-hmm. Like, he sings your praises all the time. So I got to know, where should we go for dinner? Or where should we go for this thing? Mm-hmm. So it adds so much value. And I hope anybody listening, I hope you guys implement this. If this is something that's interesting to you, it would be, we would be remiss, I think, if we didn't say that we would love to be a part. If any agents listening, we'd love to be a part of your dream team. This is the way that we think about this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I don't think too many lenders do. Right. And I'd love to change the game together with any agents listening. Let us interview to be a part of your dream team, because this is the type of thing that we're going to roll out to create raving fans for you.
Again, absolutely.
And if you want a quick overview of how we're doing this right now, just a 1-page overview, reach out, DM us, let us know in the notes, and we will get it to you, and we'll set up a time to sit down and start executing on this right away.
Absolutely. And share. If you loved this podcast or found anything valuable with it, we would just beg you to please help us out and help us share that in any format. What are all the formats we're on?
YouTube. We've got Facebook, Instagram. The full podcasts are on anywhere you can get podcasts. Your favorite podcast app, Spotify, all of the above. Subscribe to it so you're notified whenever a new episode comes out. Yes, please share, guys. I think this is something that can help all of your friends in real estate or whatever industry you're in to create amazing, amazing experiences. Please share it. We will see you next time. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.